Hey guys, welcome back to another one. This is Crypto Elite, and today's video is going to be somewhat of a controversial video. It's going to be about the bear case for TFUEL actually. And as you know, for my overall videos now, I just give you updates to my portfolio and my crypto journey along the way. Right now, my portfolio value is $16,538 and it's comprised primarily of Bitcoin. My goal right now is to average in and continue averaging in until I can get one BTC, Ethereum, Theta, Cardano, TFUEL, and Theta drop. And as of the past 7 days, there has been explosive growth in the overall crypto ecosystem, which is nice to see, as well as the 30 and 90 day as well. So I hope this continues. But that's a quick update for the portfolio. I want to continue to make these videos short, so we will continue on with the overall topic for today, and that is TFUEL. Why I unstaked my TFUEL, and I'm going to make those upcoming changes in my portfolio. So I did make a quick little video or slideshow as to why I did that. And these are just some thoughts, not necessarily in any particular order, but there's just 9 thoughts that came to my head and I kind of wanted to speak to them. Once again, I won't make this video super duper long. But when I'm looking for cryptos going forward, these are a couple of things that I am looking for. One is a public verifiable team, something that I can count on. And as we all know, I was a 100% Theta promoter before, so I know all about the team. The team is out there, and they have a website. You can Google each one of these individuals, which is great to see. And the one thing that I wish there was a little bit more of, and I think a lot of people do say this, so it's just, I wish there was more updates. There really isn't that many updates from the overall team. It's hard to find them, and I do very much welcome Andrea Berry. She came to the team very recently, and she is continuously on Twitter and other social media spaces just giving us updates on what's happening in the overall Theta ecosystem. Plus she likes dogs, if you didn't know that already. But that is one thing that I would like to see a little bit more of with the overall Theta ecosystem, is just some updates from the team. So that is the first thing. So I would definitely give this a check mark. Yes, there is a public verifiable team and they are all very smart, awesome individuals. A second thing that I'm looking for is there a means to cash flow or reoccurring revenue. Now this will make sense when I talk through different cryptos, and as a matter of fact, TFUEL is the opposite. TFUEL is a means to cash flow or a means to means of reoccurring revenue for the Theta coin actually. And you can see that from the white paper. So I'll bring it up over here, and this is just a snapshot from the Theta 3.0 white paper, and you can see that TFUEL is the source of income for the governance, for validators and guardians, as well as elite edge nodes. So if you run one of these, then you earn TFUEL. So this is the exact opposite of something that I am looking for. It is not a means of cash flow or recurring revenue. It is a means to pay out cash flow and recurring revenue. So that is something that I did not necessarily like about TFUEL, the more that I actually did look into it. So it's a means to finance operations as well. This is how Theta continues, the Theta network, the Theta Labs ecosystem, it continues to fund things in the future, as well as Binance or any of your other larger enterprise validator nodes. They have a bunch of Theta stake and they just get paid TFUEL. That TFUEL that they get paid is more than likely just being sold right on the open market. So there's always that continuous selling pressure, as well as the inflation, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. So that is the second thing. The third thing is VC hedge fund backing. Now, I don't necessarily think this really applies to TFUEL. Once again, things apply a little bit more to Theta than TFUEL, because I don't think the VCs or the hedge funds came in necessarily for TFUEL. As a matter of fact, when Theta first started, TFUEL was not a thing. So I really don't think this one applies. They did come in for Theta, and if we circle back to Theta, if they came in early 2018 or late 2017, VCs and hedge funds, after doing a little bit of research, they do put up a large chunk of money, and they expect to make even more money on that in 2 to 3 years. So if they did come in 2017, 2018, by that huge rally that happened in 2021, I bet a large chunk of them did sell and did make their money. So that is something that Also, like I said, it checks the box for theta a little bit, but not as much for TFUEL. Does the token have utility? Of course. TFUEL does have utility, and we can definitely see that from the multiple different white papers. And of course, it's just the gas for the theta ecosystem is one way to look at it. So that is something that I will check the box there. There is a lot of different use cases for TFUEL out there, as well as not only the gas, but revenue for stakers is another thing. It's a lot more than just a governance token. I think the governance token model, it's spoken of highly, but actually not utilized that much. So that is something that I am happy for as far as utility of TFUEL. Next is the tokenomics. Once again, this is kind of all over the place and not in the best order, but I don't think TFUEL has really good tokenomics. There's a couple things that I don't like about it, and it can be seen from a couple different white papers. This is the 2.0 white paper, and this is actually before TFUEL was called TFUEL. It's actually called Gamma Token, and this basically just describes when Gamma came out or TFUEL came out. There was a 5-to-1 for theta to TFUEL ratio, which was cool, and then they said it's going to continue to inflate 5% annually forever. And here in the US, we had inflation and 5%. A lot of people were raising alarm bells. And then inflation continued to rise to 8%, almost 9%. And that was very concerning. As a matter of fact, 9% is the amount of inflation that TFUEL can potentially see every single year, which is insane. So that is something that I did not like between the 9% potential inflation as well as the continuous sell pressure from a large amount of people who have enterprise validator nodes or just large amounts of theta staked is something else I didn't like. Also, the fact that it's an infinite supply, there is no cap. So those are all things that I did not like. On the flip side, I do see the counter argument that there is going to be TFUEL burning, or that there is TFUEL burning. And you can see that in the Theta White Paper 3.0, that at least, as you can see here, about 25% of each TFUEL payment is potentially burned, maybe a little bit more. And there is a huge argument that TFUEL could potentially become deflationary, much like Ethereum. As you see here, this is ultrasound money, and the ETH supply since ETH switched from proof of work to proof of stake has become deflationary certain times throughout its short history. As a matter of fact, right now at the time of this recording, ETH, once again, the supply is deflationary just because of the use case. So that is something that could happen for TFUEL. But my counter argument to that is that it's going to take a lot more usage from the network, a lot of usage to get there. So right now, if we look at the amount of transactions that there are, about 23,000 transactions in the past 24 hours. If we head over to Ethereum and check out the amount of transactions, here is a good graphical depiction. If we look at it, there's about 1 million transactions per day. So to get from 25,000 transactions to 1 million transaction, that is about a 40x increase in the amount of transactions. Not to say that it can't happen, but in order to get there, there needs to be a lot of things happening. So that is another thing that I don't necessarily buy that argument that TFUEL could potentially, it could, the potential is there for it to be deflationary, but I think it would take a lot of use from the network, and we are nowhere near close to that. So that's another thing that I don't necessarily like about the tokenomics. That is actually one of the biggest red flags about why I am unstaking and getting rid of my TFUEL is because of the tokenomics. The next thing, once again, is the exit strategy. I really did not have a good exit strategy, and this might be more of a personal me thing than everyone else, but as you know from my overall portfolio, I got in around 35 cents. The best exit strategy that I can think of right now is just to wait for the next bull cycle and hope that TFUEL goes back up to 35 cents or greater. But instead of that, I am going to reallocate those funds into other cryptos, and I think those other cryptos will have a lot more green check marks in this checklist. So the potential for me to get my money back is a little bit higher as far as I'm thinking. Another thing that I look for is, can I explain what it does? And of course, I've kind of explained it throughout this video. In simplest terms, it's the gas for the overall theta ecosystem. Now, some cryptos, there's actually a lot of them out there that I can't even explain what it does. So I don't want to put my money into something that I can't explain what it does. Does it have a roadmap? Most definitely does have a roadmap. And one thing that I do want to see is an update for this, because it looks like this roadmap has not been updated in a while, maybe since Q2 of 2022 or actually Q3 of 2022. So I wish they would update this so we can see what. I know it says 2023 plus, but I think we need a little bit more. I love the quarterly breakdown. There are targets for us to see every single quarter what is happening coming up in the future. The 2023 plus is a little vague, so that is something that I don't necessarily like. But once again, that's the roadmap for theta, not necessarily for TFUEL. So I gave it a red X as well as a green check mark because it kind of applies, but really doesn't. As well as this, the last one, are there better non-blockchain alternatives or workarounds? And thinking about it over the past couple days and weeks, I think blockchain is thrown out there so much. And in simplest terms, a blockchain is just a ledger. And I think a lot of people use it to sound really fancy or just throw those buzzwords around. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily apply to TFUEL, so I gave it both a red X and green check mark. But in other use cases, that will apply. So overall, there's a lot more red check marks, and the main red check mark that I did not like to see is the tokenomics. I think the tokenomics of TFUEL is frankly quite bad. So that is one of the main reasons why I unstaked. I have not gotten rid of it yet. I've had a very busy past couple weeks and future couple weeks, so I will try and keep everyone up to date on when I actually will get rid of my TFUEL and what I will swap into it. Of course, my Patreon members will know first, so definitely check out the Patreon if you are interested in that. And as you can see here, it's listed in the description below. If not, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I will see you guys on the next one.